Shefsky here, and welcome to the Fantasy House Podcast, the world's only NSFW real estate podcast. Why is it the world's only not safe for work real estate podcast? Because it's raw, unfiltered, adult imaginations. Every week, we have a guest that takes us through an imaginary tour of their trippy, surreal fantasy house, and they go wild. They blow my mind with weird inventions and very personalized rooms and hallways, and some people have trippy bathrooms and fun kitchens and whatnot. And this episode I'm excited about it because I have a really cool guest on. It's my buddy Sam Barnett. He is an animator. He does cool stop animation stuff. He's a filmmaker. He makes hand models, like actual silicone hands. That's his business nowadays. And he's just an interesting, trippy dude. And I was like, dude, he's going to do a fun fantasy house. And he did. So I'm stoked. This episode is brought to you by me, Jon Shefsky, the only realtor in Southern California. Makes me proud to say that because I'm the only one, and it's just it's a big job, but I'm into it, folks, and I'm handling it fairly well, I'd say. It's a little, I don't know if this is an audio podcast, so you can't see me patting myself on the back, but it's hard being the only realtor in Southern California, but you know what? Somebody's got to do it. So if you want to talk about multifamily apartment investing, if you want to talk about buying a home, selling a home, anything related to real estate, I'm so stoked to chat about it. So you can go ahead and you can send me a direct message on Jon Shefsky, Instagram, JONSHEFSKY. Why not? That's what I always say. Now, let's get this episode started. In the words of the great Angelo Bowers. Oh yeah, dude, it's Christmas. It's Christmas, dog, as the Cholos say. It's Christmas. I hope you guys are having a great Hanukkah, great Christmas, and however you celebrate the season, whatever it is, whether it's with family, whether it's with friends, whether you have alone contemplative times, whatever the holidays are to you, I just wish you a very wonderful holiday time and very Merry Christmas and a very happy Hanukkah and a killer Kwanzaa, bruh. Now, in the words of the great Angelo Bowers, let us do this. Won't you take it
My name is Sam Barnett. I'm good at accidentally getting into careers. I decided, I did a bunch of different art stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
And I was writing and doing music and doing photography a lot and all of these different things. And then film was all of those things together. I was makes sense, just do all of it. And then once I started doing it, I was obviously this is what I should do. So I was I'm going to go to film school. But I just I started making films, and then the idea of finding actors seemed too complicated, so I just made some people out of wire.
I'll just make the actors.
Yeah.
Like a god.
Yeah, because that was the part I wasn't used to. And so I just, exactly, like a god. And then
It's so convenient, right? Just to be a god, bam, yeah. I have that now. I made it.
That's kind of what this whole thing is. This is be a god, make your house.
Is that what it is? Yeah, it kind of is, huh? Right? It feels kind of good, right? Where it's just don't have anything hold you back. You can just
I'm sitting here having all of these extreme constraints. We got to get the most beat up house we can find because that's what we can afford. And I'm what is the vision of the dream of the
none of those weights, being able to just swim, glide through the water, not hold anything up.
Yeah. So before I'd ever cast anybody for anything, I made some wire people, basically have sex with each other and turn each other into different kinds of people. And then, so I made this animation, but all my
You made an animation where the wire characters have sex.
I didn't think about them as having sex when I did it, but everybody that watched it was oh, those are wire people having sex.
They read through your psychology, they did their Jungian thing. They're those are clearly two beings making love. You're
right.
Huh?
My idea was that they were just talking to each other, and by talking to each other, they were physically changing each other's bodies.
Yeah.
Because there's anytime you share an idea with somebody, you change a tool.
The plasticity in your brain, right?
Exactly.
It adjusts. Yeah.
Right.
That's so pretty trippy.
Yeah.
So are you making love to my brain right now, dude?
I mean, under that metaphor.
While your wife's in the other room?
Right.
Go order some Indian food. John and I will just be, I'm going to fuck his brain matter. Thanks, dude.
Exactly.
Feels good. Nothing. We weren't doing anything. I thought the same stuff that I thought before I got here. You changed me, man.
Yeah, but I was like thinking about what I was going to do. It was like all film because everybody I like, all the films I like are films. They're not animation. So I went to film school, but my ideas just kept making more and more sense in animation. So then I committed to animation by the end of film school. So I animate, and then one day I started making hands, and people started buying them, and now a few years.
We'll jump into this. Okay, slow down. So you decided to start doing animation. Which how did that feel?
It was great, and it was going pretty well.
Did it feel like a relaxing to be like, "Whew, I know what to focus on." Like there's something.
Sure. Yeah. I guess I hadn't thought about that for a long time, but yeah, it was there was definitely a moment of clarity about what I should be doing. I didn't relax long because then I was like, let's just do it. Let's do it.
Maybe relax wasn't even the right word. Some relief to be like, I can focus on something. Yeah. I don't know. I felt that. So I was wondering if you felt that when you shed some of the other I don't need to make films with people. Someone else can do that.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it up to them and just trust that they'll make films with people if I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I think there's definitely some of that where I was like, this is definitely the thing I want to be doing. And each time I do it, it turns out really well.
Yeah, dude.
People really like it. I wasn't making a ton of money at it and still have not made a ton of money at it.
But you've had success at it, though.
Yeah,
you have
definitely had some success at it.
Yeah, you've definitely influenced people, and your art's it's made people think, right? I mean, that's how I feel.
I mean, and it was there's animation I did for a feature that just won a bunch of awards coming around.
What's that?
Rain Dance. It's called Planters.
Okay, Planters.
And it's about these two ladies having a weird getting to know each other relationship, buddy comedy, dark comedy, kind of felt a little like Wes Anderson to me, and a little bit like Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah.
And so they
had Wes Anderson and Wes Anderson,
and one of them's really straight laced, and they come together and become friends. And it's a nice comedy. But it won Rain Dance and Nashville, and it premiered at AFI.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, so it was doing really good. And then I did a music video for Soulja Boy this year, which is weird.
That's awesome.
But also great.
Is the whole video animated, or is it just parts of it?
That whole video is animated. The movie is mostly live action with animated segments that I did of Bible stories gone wrong.
Man, dude, I want to see this. That's so cool.
Yeah, once it's available to stream, I'll link it.
We'll get to know, and the listeners can check it out. Yeah, dude, for sure.
Right,
that's rad.
Cool.
And your dude, Operator.
Yeah, and then Operator is doing well. It has crossed 1 million views on episode 1 pretty recently, which is awesome.
So rad.
I'm really dragging episode 3.
So explain Operator to our listeners, because to me, when that was happening, I was like, yes, I was so excited, because it's just when you see when an artist comes from your tribe and does something that anyone takes notice at, and it starts to it's just exciting. It's did you hear Sam struck gold over there? It's we're a bunch of digging for gold, or he found some.
Yeah, it feels like that. It feels like that at first, and I'm still waiting for the gold to show up.
Well, the metaphor of gold might not.
I struck some viewership gold.
That's what I mean, though. Dude, it's so exciting having. I mean, I have a small audience, but just having anybody that really listens to what you're saying. It's all of a sudden you're not just jerking off into the ether, as they say, for so much art.
Yeah.
You're I'm doing this for someone. I have artistic purpose. So,
totally.
So that blew up. So I guess explain what it is and what happened to our listeners.
Right. So that's about an evil corporation that releases a plague of biomechanical parasites that enslave its workers.
A standard story in American cinema. Come on, folks.
Happy time stop motion, regular. Fits right in with the Christmas stuff.
You should make it during Christmas, or throw a Christmas one and it's a Christmas movie, like Die Hard,
Yeah, right.
It's one of those Christmas movies about corporations that release a plague.
Yeah, really bloody parasites that just attach themselves to your head.
It's rad. It's like Tim Burton meets Terry Gilliam's Scary Future stuff, where you feel the coolness of stop animation, but then you feel I'm terrified of what we have become and are becoming.
Right. Yeah. So after episode 1 did well, I started making more of it, and I did a Kickstarter for the next 2 episodes, and episode 2 is released, and episode 3 is taking a very long time. Because of the hand business. That's a better segue.
Oh, yeah. So now here's the segue to that. When people say the hand business.
Yeah, I started making silicone hands, and then more and more people start buying them, and now it's completely taken over my life.
And it's just, is it right or left hand, or is it both hands? It's both hands.
It's there's different people's hands. It's just a whole fucking
And who buys it?
So basically I have one major client, and then a bunch of other clients.
Okay.
So a lot of people.
But they buy it for, like, what's the utility?
Some people use them for, like, making life-size movie recreation, like movie characters.
Okay.
And some people use it for, there's, like, one of my clients is, it's called Dapper Cadaver.
Okay.
And they turn them into corpse hands and sell them to, like, film people.
So they buy the base of the hand off of you, and then they make changes to it. Mm-hmm. Like, make it all stitched up and
stab it with stuff.
Really?
Or, like, paint some wounds on it.
It's so funny. There's multiple layers to that business. It's not like the person that you buy. Do you know this, listeners? You might be buying a murder hand for your Halloween horror house and thinking that they made it from scratch. But it's like, no, they bought a hand, then they made it scary.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask, like, who's buying this, and how did you stumble into it? You're like, I made a hand for all. Now my phone won't stop ringing.
I was talking about, like, accidents. Like, I was doing 3D sound stuff for Operator.
Yeah.
And I was like, I built my own 3D microphone, which involves, like, casting some, like, silicone ears and putting 2, like, microphones in the ears. Mm-hmm. And then when you record that way and you play it back in headphones, you can, like, hear where it was recorded.
Oh, that's so awesome.
It's pretty trippy. There's this thing called a virtual barbershop on YouTube that you
can my brother who's a, what do you call it, a headphone, what do they call it when someone's a
sound engineer?
No, well, he's a regular engineer, but he's a headphoneophile or something like that. Like, he collects, like, crazy, amazing headphones. Yeah. And he made me sit down when I was like, how much did you spend on these things? He's like, sit down for a minute. And he played virtual barber for me, and I was like, well, that's really trippy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely trippy how, like, when good sound design goes into your brain, you're like, that's happening to me.
Turns out when you put it over animation, nobody gives a shit about
it. No one cares.
So
it's like picture quality with comedy. People are like, was it funny?
Right.
Did it cut at the right time for them to laugh?
Yeah.
They don't care about your picture quality.
Yeah. Like, sound design matters, but the difference between 3D and not 3D is, like, unless you're, like, really a sound person listening, like, nobody notices. So anyways, I started making ears, and I was like, I'm going to start selling 3D microphones. And so I started that process, and I made a prototype, and then I was like, maybe I should just also sell these ears, and then those started selling, and then I was like, what if I make a hand? And then the hands started selling really well. And
just the way you're describing it, Sam. Started making ears. I was like, well, what do they buy? How about a pinky toe? Maybe a kneecap.
Right, yeah.
How much longer till you're like, fuck it, I'm selling genitals, I'm making $2 million a month?
I had the idea. I actually made... And this is a weirder idea I had that Sydney thought was hilarious, and everybody I told thought was hilarious, but did not sell well, which is a Donald Trump butt plug.
That's hilarious. How did that not sell well?
I don't know, but I sold like 10 of them, maybe. And
in my eyes, that's selling well. 10 of them? Yeah.
One person bought 6 because they wanted to create, like, a rainbow flag of them for their sex shop.
That's so funny, dude. It's the only way we just got to Mel Brooks and Trey Parker, Matt Stone, and by that I mean you just got to make fun of fascists,
right?
And fascism, and just in general.
Yeah, that was the idea. I think everybody thought it was funny, but nobody really wanted to own one.
Yeah, there is something in me when I'm like, I'm not buying anything with this asshole's image. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like exactly. I think we all think enough about him, but it is funny that I can imagine it being funny to stick that.
It was also like
or somebody's butt.
Yeah. It was also a little funnier, like this. I did this like when he was running still.
Yeah.
And by the time he was actually got elected, it was less funny. And I released them like on like his inauguration day.
I think that what you did actually might have helped get him elected.
God, I hope not. Just joking. No.
Can you imagine being blamed for?
Yeah, I didn't release him until after he had been.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
that's safe.
That is hilarious that you made a butt plug.
Yeah, but it failed. So then I just stuck to the hands.
I think the thing about butt plugs is consistency. So I think you need to like keep making them.
Right.
And there'll be more presidents. Trust me. Another one's coming at some point, right?
Yeah.
Whether a couple of years or 5 more years or something like that, there'll be another president.
I hope so.
Dude, I'm expecting more butt plugs.
Okay.
Just try. And what if it's like a certain president that everyone's like, now that's a butt plug president? And then you sell $100,000.
I'll sell hundreds.
Elizabeth Warren. I'm hoping to buy a Tulsi butt plug, but that's just me. I'm not trying to get political on this podcast. I respect everyone's views.
Yeah.
What's the geographic location of your fantasy house?
Yeah, so I just thinking about what the outside of it. I would like it in the desert, like kind of in the Joshua Tree area.
Oh, cool. Already.
I'm seeing a bunch of cactuses or Joshua trees or both, but like pretty sparse and flat. And you have to drive a long ways to get there.
So we're in a flat part of Joshua Tree.
Mm-hmm. Right. Which there are some big flat parts in Joshua Tree.
Oh, I know. Yeah. That's actually where the cheapest acreage is.
Oh, yeah.
If there's any hills around or on it, you're like, oh, it's triple the price for acreage. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, Joshua Tree. I love it out there, so I'm always looking. I'm always looking at Josh.
It's crossed my mind too,
dude. It's such
put
a great...
tiny house out there and like.
Oh yeah. My buddy that's been on the show, I think Sandro's talked about it. He's got land out there, and him and his brother have cool stuff. Like, and
cool.
you can just buy simple land and just
the producer on that Planters thing. I think that her and her husband did something like that.
Oh yeah,
in like Instagram photos.
That's where she came up with the idea
like really
for the film. Probably she was like tripping on mushrooms out in Joshua Tree on her property. I was like, we got to make this movie, and there has to be 3D animation.
Yeah,
I'm just guessing.
Could be. They didn't tell me that part of the story.
Oh, dude. Just juxtapose me riffing and you being like, yes, John. But seriously, let's talk about my fantasy house. Okay, so Joshua Tree, a lot of flat land, a lot of cactuses. Right. What would I be looking at if we were flying a drone over it?
I think you'd be driving up or walking up. You probably have to walk a little bit to it. You walk up to it, and it's just a giant cement cube. And there's just a staircase up to like the center of it where there's just one doorway. And just like 1 foot by 1 foot window.
Yeah.
Like 20 feet above the doorway.
Oh, I love it.
And then there's just a bunch of cats just hanging out.
Like inside once you get in?
Around it. No, around
Oh, around
outside.
it.
Yeah, just
Are they guard cats?
They're just hanging out.
They're just hanging out.
Yeah.
You won't even tell us if they're guard cats.
They don't like you.
That's some real security, is that Sam won't tell us if we need to be careful around these cats.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe some of them are bigger cats, too. I hadn't considered that.
That's great. Some bobcats, maybe a lion of some sort of mountain lion, and a bunch of felines, like regular felines.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it because it's different guests have different ways of describing it, but you just painted like the perfect visual of what I'd imagine you having. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Like a trippy, but like a block out there, like your Kubrick getaway with cats out there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, I did think about maybe it should have like some just concrete obelisks like around it.
Yeah.
Like it might, maybe it's just one concrete block is perfect with the staircase. Maybe there's like sort of
but you thought of a 2001 style
of like little obelisks, concrete obelisks
that you won't tell us what the hell they represent.
Yeah, no, definitely
ever. You're like, he won't tell me if the cats are dangerous. He won't tell me what those fucking stone things are for.
Yeah, cats can hang out on the obelisks.
Oh, dude,
short enough they can jump up there.
Oh, that'd be so cute, dude. I'm loving it. I see it already. Okay, so what's the door? The one door. What does it look like?
It's just a metal door.
Just a metal door.
Yeah, rusty metal door.
Does it open regular? Does it slide or
opens
drop?
Regular.
Okay, opens regular.
Yeah,
and.
So you walk in, and then you're just in a concrete hallway.
Yep.
For a little while, you walk down into a room that has.
How's it lit in the concrete hallway? Is it
recessed lighting?
Okay.
Yeah. And then you got 3 more metal doors, and we could go off to one, and we've got a room that's just full of every single kind of succulent there is.
Nice. Not enough succulents outside. We got to have a room with every succulent.
Yeah.
A control room.
Yeah, but like so many different species, and I'm like trying to like interbreed them. So there's like trying to create new species.
Yeah.
And like ideally trying to create like 2 camps of succulents that like are having like a really slow motion like war with each other for resources.
So succulents can do that there, or you've created some that are advanced, or what?
I mean, I gotta figure it out a little bit, but I'd like for them to be able to tell that there's like battle for resources happening. Like, so over the course of my whole lifetime,
succulents. It's like wishing oysters had more nervous system. You're like, I wish they knew that we were eating them. So is this room? Is it super like minimalist style, or is it like a modern like laboratory with like things that are labeled, or like your workshop?
This would be like like maybe concrete walls. Like maybe we're still in the concrete kind of thing, but with like the whole ceiling is glass. Like it's a giant greenhouse, but the ceiling is glass. Walls are concrete.
Oh, nice. Okay,
so pretty minimal, but also just like so many plants that it's not really minimal anymore. It's full. Can
you observe from the glass ceiling? Can you be looking down to see what's going on in there? Or
no, I think you have to go in it.
You have to go in it. Yeah. Okay, take us to the next room, dude. Starting right off trippy. There's a succulent war for resources. I'm like, holy shit. I didn't even know they could have that. They can in my fantasy house. Make it weird. I love it.
I think that we could have a more regular, minimal, modern, nice like living space after that. We can get a little regular here. Just have some nice couches. Giant window on the side where we're like looking out over the desert.
Oh, beautiful.
It's a great place to like relax. And I got a VR headset a little while ago, and I was like sitting in this like I don't know if you've tried these things, but you like.
Oh yeah, I freaking love them.
So you like the Oculus like basic room where you're like in that chalet. thing? I don't know.
I don't remember. It's been a bit. I did the HTC a couple of years ago, maybe like last year or the year before. I did the Oculus. My buddy had both of them. He moved, but he had both of them, and he was like, "Come on over. We're gonna rock these things."
Yeah.
So I kind of remember. So it's basically like that's the home desk,
right? The home desk.
Yeah.
You're just like in this like chalet, giant open space with like you look out over the mountains, and there's like a big wood fireplace. And like when I first got it, I was just like sitting there one day, like with it just on, just like looking around for like 20 minutes, and then I like took it off and I'm back in my like hand studio /
You had that depression that people get when they're like, I was just in heaven. I didn't want to come back here.
Just like, I don't think that this apartment was shitty, but like right now.
Dude, my brother thinks that like we're gonna like I've been super stoked on VR forever, but he's been like, dude, it's not a good thing to be exposed to that and then expect it at all times, which I get. And my brother's much more stoic than I am, and I would love to be as stoic as he is, but I'm also just like, if I could just have sex, eat whatever I want, and then actually have a physically fit body that allows me to like be the crazy athlete that in my head I would like to be with very little repercussions. It's really hard to be like, no, I just want to go go to the store real quick and grab something to eat. Like, no, I want to stay in there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to, it's hard for me to say, like, I hope that future doesn't come. Like, if I'm already plugged into that matrix, what do you want me to do?
I mean, and it's good exercise.
It's good exercise.
Yeah,
you do move around, right?
Yeah, like that's one of my favorite things about it, actually.
Yeah.
Is like, if you're playing a video game, and it's like, there's not too many video games that I get really sucked into, but Breath of the Wild,
I'm not familiar, but
it's like the new Zelda thing that came out last year, maybe. It's like, you're just moving your hands, and that one you can like move the controller around a little bit, but it's like nothing. But like, this one is like, you play table tennis and you're actually playing table tennis and you're jumping around, or Beat Saber is like an intense workout.
I did this one where you're playing like it's like tennis or racket. No, it's like tennis or something like that, but you're with your head. You're bouncing. It's off the PlayStation VR.
Okay.
And you like headbutt it and it vibrates. It's got like haptic stuff in it. So you're like boom, boom, boom. And I loved it. It felt like I was playing like racquetball or whatever in the Tron world.
Right.
And it was really fun.
Yeah.
And I was moving around like a mofo.
Yeah, I mean, I did like a boxing one, and I was like, I'm not in good enough shape to play this game.
To even play a video game.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, my heart rate's at like 180. I'm like, I gotta sit down. I was like, I gotta use as much time between rounds as they could give me, because I'm like ready to fall over.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good thing. The moving around thing is super fun. I did this thing at the Grove where you were in a Star Wars thing. And
we did that too. The Void.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, they're shooting, the stormtroopers are shooting lasers at you, and you block it with your lightsaber, and you feel the lightsaber.
Right.
Boom. I was just like, this is what it's like to be in that universe that George Lucas created. Like, it was wild.
Yeah. So there's one that's on the Oculus that's like almost as good as that thing.
Do you think people will get lazy in their Oculus? They'll be like, no, I have like one of those Wall-E chairs that I float around, and even in my characters, my avatars are lazy.
I would like to believe that everybody's going to be so excited about the game.
They'll find ways around it.
Yeah.
Someone will develop like, you know how annoying it is how people expect you to exercise in VR?
No, one of my friends that has had it for a couple years actually was like saying that. He's like, I'm so tired of having to like move around in my VR games.
I asked a buddy about porn, and he's like, it's so real that it's kind of more annoying than just like regular porn, because he's like, everything's in your face, and you're just like, and I'm like, yeah, that's sex. It's like, oh, masturbation is like it's an actual form of sex, to where you could prefer that and be like, I don't always want the sex part. Yeah. I feel like flying airplanes is probably going to be my favorite thing, which doesn't require a ton of exercise.
Oh, yeah.
And when you have a VR headset on, I don't know if you looked at like the new Microsoft flight simulator.
I haven't tried it, no.
Unreal. I haven't played it. I just watched a YouTube video of a guy explaining it and showing it. I was like, oh, it looks like you're in a plane. So if you build a nice little cockpit, it's going to be a lot easier than driving to the airport. Probably safer than driving to the airport.
Definitely.
Statistically, that's the dangerous part, driving.
Yeah. I always say that to make myself feel better.
So that was a fun tangent. Totally my fault. I'll take all the credit for that, listeners. You can send your emails to fantasyhousePodcast@gmail.com. But so you're envisioning that you have a room in your fantasy house that is like the home desktop.
Yeah, but just more concrete in the desert instead. But just really nice big open space where it's just, I feel really good in a space like that.
There's no furniture. There's nothing to adjust. Like, you're just sitting in it, and you're like, it's a really
maybe there's maybe like, there's 2 or 3 couches. Mostly it's open space. Yeah. Like an art gallery almost. Where it's like the window and the couches.
I don't know why I'm picturing like in Star Wars, like how in like a Star Destroyer and like some of the big spaceships, how they have like some of the flight decks are just like these big open like rectangular shapes. you know, where there, and then it opens off to the side of like the Death Star, where the vehicles fly out. However, like it's just this big open. I don't know. Just they feel like big rooms of rectangles. If you know what I'm talking about. So I'm picturing that. And by the look on your face, you're like, yeah, maybe.
I think so. I'm trying to think
about
about Star Wars, and I feel like, you know, there's more happening in the Star Wars. This would be like more minimal than the Star Wars world, maybe. But.
I think I'm imagining the general shape, but definitely like with what you're saying, like the minimal, like deleting those other things hanging around. No tubes with fuel and droids running everywhere or vehicles. Right. More like you said, a couple cool couches.
Yeah.
And an opening. All right, cool. Where's next?
I would like to have somewhere where there's monkeys, because I've just never hung out with monkeys.
You've never hung out with them, but now you're like, I'd like to commit to having a place where there's some monkeys.
Yeah, you know, we can rescue some monkeys that need rescuing and like build like a little sanctuary for them, and I can become friends with some of the monkeys.
That sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So if we met some of the monkeys right now, like you're like, oh, let me take you guys to my monkey sanctuary.
Yeah.
What does it look like? What's it feel like in there?
I think, you know, it's like we got concrete walls, but then we're in a nice like jungly kind of. I don't know, you know, maybe you have to zero in on specific monkeys, because maybe like some monkeys want this habitat and other monkeys want that habitat, and we can't like cross them.
Now you're getting into monkey management, which is like a whole other thing that you didn't even think about before you took the monkeys in, and then you're like, shit, now I got to manage these monkeys.
Yeah. But we'll do it right, and so there'll be some happy monkeys. And
you're not going to do what you did to the succulents?
No, the succulents, that's very different. Succulents are at war. They're having, you know, a really slow, stressful life.
But we don't want that for the monkeys.
No, monkeys are going to be... Maybe they've had a stressful life where they were, but they've come to be rescued in this like happier place. And now we're...
Are you more empathetic to the monkeys because they have a higher level of consciousness as far as we understand, or because they're also mammals and you can relate to them?
I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's very hard for me to know how plants feel about anything.
Yeah.
Like maybe they feel things.
That makes two of us, yeah.
You know, but like to say that like stress is definitely bad for them, it's like, you know, you assume that they're not going to like to be like dying or something, but like some struggle in there might make the plant life more interesting.
We're willing to risk it. We're not going to err on the side of caution. We don't know what these plants are feeling.
Yeah, no.
We're going to put them through some ringers.
But you can tell if monkeys are unhappy about shit.
Yeah, it's a simple one for sure. Yeah. Like on a bumper sticker. You can tell when monkeys are unhappy about shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so does it feel like natural in there? Like you're in a
yeah. Aside from like the concrete walls, it's like as natural as possible, and you like walk around through this jungly area with some chimps maybe or some smaller monkeys, and they all know who we are because we hang out with them sometimes. And
nice.
I mean, I've heard a lot of monkeys are like assholes, and hopefully.
It depends, like what area they're in, like what like certain monkeys I've heard like they'll steal stuff. I think Bill Burr has a joke about a monkey stealing from him. And,
happened to my brother.
Yeah,
his monkey stole his camera, and just video of it because he got the camera back. But it's like video of the monkey, like he's like like trying to take a picture of the monkey, and the monkey grabs it and runs off.
That sounds priceless.
Yeah, and he had to chase the monkey down and get the camera back.
Dude, you should put that out on your channel too. Get another viral video.
Yeah,
dude,
it's a little off-brand.
How did he catch it?
He just ran after it, I think, and maybe the monkey like dropped it.
He scared the monkey?
Yeah.
Put the fucking present down. Put your hands behind your back, monkey.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't imagine that. There's enough competition in California with just like trying to get through the aisle of a grocery store with other humans. I can't imagine fussing with monkeys,
Right.
Like going to the park and be like, oh, no, the monkeys are annoying the shit out of me. It's like...
Yeah. You go to Thailand, you'd be in some crazy busy like city in Thailand, and then there's also like hundreds of monkeys everywhere stealing your water bottle.
Being jerks. Yeah. I thought you guys were friendly. I thought it was Mother Nature. I thought you guys were my homies. Yeah. Have you ever seen monkeys eat like a baby deer like on BBC or whatever? Yeah. It's like they're brutal. They're smart enough to where I'm like, you guys don't realize how like cruel you're being right now? Like, could you just snap that deer's neck?
Yeah.
So they're weird.
Yeah. I mean, we're just monkeys. We're just,
advanced.
We're just like a lot better at killing a lot of things at once from a distance.
Shefsky here. Hey, you guys know I'm not just a fantasy real estate agent. I'm a really real real estate agent. That's right. In real life in Southern California, I am a realtor. So hit me up if you want to talk about houses, condos, multifamily apartment buildings. If you want to sell a house, buy a house, fantasyhousepodcast@gmail.com or on Instagram at JONSHEFSKY. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Real estate. It's really fun. All right, guys. back to the show. All right. So, Monkey Sanctuary?
Monkey Sanctuary.
What's next?
We need a nice like shower room where there's just like the whole ceiling is just dumping hot water on you all the time.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's just like you just got to splurge into like some kind of physical fantasy where it's just the most relaxing thing.
That's your idea of the most relaxing thing, is a waterfall of hot water?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. That with the option to lay down as well.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely cool. Have to have like some nice like reclining like waterproof seats in there.
It's crazy that it's not like the whole home isn't built around that nowadays. Like we've come pretty far with open concept kitchens, but I'm like the next step's got to be like basing the house around good hot water stuff, like good baths.
Honestly, like I think people are going to be basing their houses around VR in the near future.
Like instead of it being like the multimedia room will basically be like, oh, your extra room is like where everyone plugs in and gets wild.
Want padded walls and like open space so you can like move around a lot. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Assuming this guy, I mean, I think it's going to get real big, and it is hard.
Sure.
Like I agree that like with the people who are afraid of it, like there's plenty of things to be afraid of.
Well, it's like everything in the time wave that we're in. We're just like, there's a lot of stuff that's scary, but guess what? It just keeps moving like a conveyor belt, whether you want to stop or not. Things just go, progress.
There's no like return into Indian times.
There's no. Like,
kill everyone on the planet. That's like the only way back, and that's obvious.
And then you've got the insane people that want that, the 12 Monkeys gangs or whatever. Yeah. We just got to kill everyone, and then we can have our. It's like, well, you want to start like that though? You want to start it off fresh? That's kind of scary.
It's very scary.
There's a name for that. There's like that. There's a name for it. Like there's like religious fundamentalists, and like they're like not doomsday preppers, but they're like Armageddon. Like they kind of get off on that idea. There's a philosopher. There's a weird philosopher that I like, and he's always so like it's part of the whole natural thing. It's got to reset and refresh. And I'm like, you are genius on some stuff, but I'm also just like, are you excited for everything to like go to shit? Like, I like a hot bath.
I think a lot of people are. I think that's why
it's really
like,
weird.
You know,
it's like a fetish. It's like a weird, yeah.
Yeah.
We just need to wipe it clean. I was like, that's not a very soothing bath. Like, you might be one of the people that gets eaten up by it.
Yeah.
It's really easy to say, too. Yeah, start over, bro.
Yeah, I mean, people love those kinds of stories.
Mad Max, I'll wear one of those motorcycle helmets with spikes on it. It's like, it's not all fun.
People want to be in The Walking Dead. You know,
yeah, it's super
until they're
weird.
actually in it, then they're probably not going to be so happy.
That's a weird obsession. That's the difference when you get when people get linguistic thought confused with like actual like understanding. You're like, yeah, it sounds really cool. You're gonna have a really cool black Mustang or whatever with like rocket launchers on top. But it's like that's
and you're
like
sitting in LA traffic.
Yeah, it's right. Let some of that primal aggression, like I'm going to dominate during the apocalypse. Yeah. And people are like, I'm going to get such a great deal on a house. You're like, we're going to be looking for fuel and safety and food. So yeah, I don't know that doomsday fetish is definitely a trip. So VR, so you're gonna have a VR room. You're gonna have a hot shower.
Definitely have to have a VR room.
So is the hot shower going to be necessary, or are we just going to plug in the VR thing into like our brain and be like, it feels like I'm getting a hot shower right now?
I mean, I guess if we get there, then we won't need it. But
will someone keep the electricity going if we get to that point? Can someone keep riding the hamster wheel?
I think we could put some solar panels out in the desert on top of my giant concrete block.
That's very kind of you. Yeah. This is the first act of future charity I've seen that's like, I'm going to make it sustainable that we can stay in VR. Yeah. I'm voting for you. Okay. Sorry, Tulsi. This guy's going to keep my VR fantasy going.
I think being president's probably about the least likely scenario for me. It's the thing I would least like to do of like any career path. That sounds like just the worst.
Yeah. I like how they're always like, are you a leader or a follower? It's like, well, what if I'm neither of those? I just want to be. I don't need to lead or follow, dog. Like, is there not a space for me? No. Okay. Thank you, world. Thank you, culture.
Yeah, I'm good with a little of both.
On this episode of Fantasy House, Sam declares he doesn't want to be president. Hold your votes, folks. They were about to write it in. Yeah. So, hot bath.
Mm-hmm. We've gone through some nice things. I think
we need a toilet.
There's got to be some toilets in there. We could have a toilet in most of the rooms, I think, but not in the big concrete looking out over the desert one. There's probably not a toilet in that one.
Okay. Where do we go where's the toilet and what's it like?
What's it like? Oh, yeah.
Paint me a poopy picture of your toilet.
Yeah, I guess I have never thought about like a fancy bathroom. But I like fancy bathrooms, I guess, when I've been in like a fancy hotel. So we can just make it very gray, slate, simple. Nice bathroom.
So when you say fancy, you mean like modern minimalist,
Pretty,
big, solid.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be huge.
Okay.
Good ventilation system.
Dear God, I hope so. Someone's sticking up the whole cube. Yeah, definitely want ventilation for sure.
Yeah. But then there needs to be some like less, in a real fantasy house for me, like a way to explore like broader sort of existential anxieties is good, I think.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if you've ever read the book like House of Leaves, but there's this like,
No.
It starts with like the person's house just like isn't staying in the same place. They're like, they measure a wall one day and it's one thing. They measure another day and it's a little different.
Yeah.
And so eventually they find their way down into this like passageway, and then there's just like an infinite series of black rooms that are just different sizes. And he just walks down into them and just walks into room after room after room of just all of these like black rooms.
And is he stuck in this, or is he?
Eventually he gets out, but it's like there's no markers, there's nothing in there. It's just like black rooms.
So you leave that room and you go to another black room.
Yeah.
Trip. That sounds like a nightmare too, though.
Yeah. But being able to like go down into something like that and like do like a backpacking trip into nothingness is
everyone's like, "You got your hiking gear on. Why are you going down the stairs?" Like,
you got to have rations in case you get lost.
What would you bring for rations?
Well, I do a lot of backpacking.
Yeah.
And so, you need a good super lightweight stove. Weighs like a couple ounces. Little pocket rocket thing.
Mm-hmm.
With some gas canisters for cooking stuff. A bunch of dehydrated food. You got to carry your water. There's no water down in the empty black rooms.
That's the scary thing, is running out of water.
Yeah. So you kind of can only go as far as you can carry as much water. Yeah. Which is like, if you're not going uphill or downhill too much, you can carry a couple days of water pretty easily.
Yeah. What is a couple days of water? 4 liters?
I mean, depending on how hot it is, can make a huge difference in how much water you need.
Sure.
But you can get by with a liter or two if you're not doing too physical and it's not real hot.
Not sweating too much.
Yeah, but if you're like climbing up a mountain like we usually are, then you might go through like a gallon a day.
Damn. So to carry a couple days worth is a lot of water.
That's a lot of weight. Yeah, a lot of water.
It's weird we even survived this far, speaking of evolution, like, because some of the stuff we need, I'm like, damn, we really need it. The stuff we can't handle.
Right.
The exposure and stuff like that. It's like, how did we even, we've been out of the sun for a long time,
Yeah.
Like we've evolved from a point way before, like we've just the ability to, like I said, survive. Where it's like, if we've grown this needy for this long, it's like, how did we ever get here that we need water that often? Like,
Right.
It seems like you look at snakes or you look at some of these other animals, you're like, they can really get by.
Yeah.
I can't.
I know. I've got a turtle. You can go days without water. Weeks, probably.
I think they can go, yeah.
Yeah.
Certain stuff can like hibernate, like it just shuts itself off.
Yeah,
Like,
sometimes he'll just dig down into his wood chips and just like sit there for a couple weeks. You're like, "You okay, Charles?" And he's, poke at him and he like looks at me like, "Why are you bothering me?"
oh, dude, I'd love to be a fly on the wall just to see you checking in with Charles. Charles you okay, Charles? Yeah, all right. Gotta go make these hands.
Yeah. He's our oldest pet. He's like 17 or 18 now. Or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He can almost vote.
Yeah, right.
Who you voting for,
I don't
Charles?
think I would trust him to vote.
You don't think you trust a turtle to vote?
He's not very smart. He'll try to like walk through like a glass, like the glass door. He'll try to walk through it for like an hour.
Believe it or not, being smart doesn't have anything to do with voting. I don't know if you've noticed. I don't know if you've noticed.
That's true.
In the past
Yeah, a random choice is
30
probably
years.
better than a lot of people's choices.
That's why I think we should make this podcast about letting Charles vote.
Okay.
Change the fate of our nation, Charles the Turtle.
Yeah.
So that room's a trip.
Yeah.
We find our way out.
Yeah, find our way out, luckily. And I think maybe the final thing that it really needs is inside all of this modern, harsh stuff is like a nice domestic area also.
Is there a kitchen in this?
Yeah, we got a nice kitchen. I cook a lot.
Yeah?
So, lots of high-quality cooking gear. Some gas stove, maybe. Or one of the new fancy electric ones could be nice since we got solar panels.
Yeah. On top of the cube, you got solar panels.
Yeah. So nice kitchen, some nice place where some kids can grow up, nice bedroom. That part doesn't have to be crazy. Just a nice, comfortable domestic.
We'll describe the nice, comfortable
little
domestic
heart
bedroom.
area. Nice. What even is that to me?
Ooh, this is where it gets good. Yeah.
I guess we got nice soft floors. Or maybe, I mean, it's not carpet, but like some nice padded rugs on some like on the concrete.
Like the whole floor being padded in this room.
Like most of it. Like maybe the edges are some like polished concrete happening in the edges. We got heated floors for sure. We got a nice like king size bed. We got a big TV that can disappear into the wall.
Get out of the way, TV, and just go, and it's gone.
Yeah, some recessed lighting.
And is this also gray cement or what's it? What's
It'll still be gray cement, but maybe there's like a bunch more like art on the walls and plants. Like, you know, I mean, look at my apartment. This is what I'm going to do to it.
Yeah.
Got a whole bunch of like little bits of art, some of my art, a bunch of other people's art. I would definitely be like collecting more art if I had more money and wall space.
Yeah.
Like there are some really amazing artists in LA. I would love to be funding their work by buying their work.
It's so nice it's such a candy for the eyes too when you have art around that you like, and
yeah,
it just feels good to see the certain colors or textures or patterns.
So then this space becomes much busier.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff the way this is, and it's like it's not necessarily messy, but it's not like tightly organized and clean and empty the way a lot of it is.
In this room in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a feel of like you're not being it's not strict.
No.
Like you can relax and like it's there's stuff and don't worry if there's a chair moved over here, you open up a book and just that's cool. I like that because there's so many simple minimalist spots and so much stuff going on with your succulent wars and your monkeys and all the stuff, and then to feel like you can just don't worry about messing this room up.
Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a nice long-term domestic space within this like more complicated, larger structure.
What's your closet like? How do you keep your clothes?
Oh, my clothes don't matter. I just buy a bunch of the same things.
Okay.
You know.
What would that be?
You know, like what?
Like if I open up the closet door in this fantasy house.
It's just like a bunch of jeans, a bunch of t-shirts.
Blank t-shirts and jeans.
I mean, I got some graphic tees too. I mean, I'm gonna have a couple like suits and stuff for like the periodic time that I have to put something nicer on. I guess I kind of like, you know, maybe I got like 3 nice jackets for when it's sometimes cold in the desert.
It gets cold in Joshua Tree.
Yeah. Wintertime,
I've camped out there many times. Wintertime, I wear my snowboarding jacket. I wear a 10 degree. Is it a minus 10 degree? I have like a super cold like military. My brother-in-law was in the Marines and he gave me his. It's like a bivy sack and I think it's a minus 10 sleeping bag. Okay. And it like zips up to where it's just like your mouth and nose and eyes are exposed. And
we got some sleeping bags.
Like
that. Yeah.
Joshua Tree in wintertime. Yeah, you're gonna be chilly.
We just did Death Valley actually.
Oh, that's probably very similar temperature. Right?
Yeah. Well, at the lowest spot, it was only getting down to like 55 at night.
Oh,
we like stopped there at first, but then we went up like 4,000 feet. And that's where we ended up camping. But like we also went up like another 4,000 feet to like 8,000, and it must have been like 15 degrees.
Oh yeah.
At it was like 4:00 in the afternoon. It was freezing. Then we came back down and camped at like 4,000 feet, it got down to like 30 probably. It was cold.
That's cold. When you like walk away from your campfire and you're like, I'm freezing cold as soon as I'm away from the campfire. You're like, that's cold.
By like the time we were going to sleep, we were cold even by the campfire. And we're like, let's like see how close you can get without burning yourself.
I brought my Tempur-Pedic pillow out once during a wintertime camp trip to Joshua Tree, and it froze the pillow. Like it was like a rock of Tempur-Pedic.
Oh wow!
It was really weird.
So the foam like froze. I didn't know foam.
I didn't even know it did either. It was like a whole new thing. I was like, "What's going on here?" It took me by surprise.
Yeah, we took our memory foam pillows out there, and they didn't freeze.
They didn't freeze.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't 30. It's possible.
Oh, I think it was colder than that when I was at that time of Joshua Tree. But it's the Tempur-Pedic. It's the one that goes like where it's got that like the neck support where your head drops in, and it's like about 2 feet wide. Or it's a really cool pillow. Cool. I've had it for a long time.
Yeah,
I still have it. Probably should replace it soon, right? You're not supposed to have pillows for 20 years.
Maybe. You can wash them.
Can you wash Tempur-Pedic pillows?
I don't know.
Just, if you're a listener and you're about to wash it, that's a disclaimer. We don't know.
Can't guarantee anything.
Anything else in your fantasy house we got to see?
I think that's pretty complete.
Dude, so good. Where can people find you? Or do you want them to find you? Do you want them to order hands? Where do you guys want to order your hands from?
No.
That's our advertisement.
Too many people are already.
If you're going to order hands this Christmas, order them.
If you want to watch Operator, you can search for Operator on YouTube.
Just type Operator in?
Type Operator stop motion. That'll get you there.
Okay.
Because there's like some song named Operator.
Yeah. It's not that song.
Yeah. But it'll be easy to find if it's Operator stop motion.
Rad.
Yeah. There's also an Operator web series with underscores under the words on Instagram.
And that's also Sam's, the web series.
Right.
And that's on Instagram.
Yep.
Awesome, guys. Thank you for listening. If you're just tuning in, this is your first episode, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you're a regular listener, why don't you give us a 5-star review, right? A review for us. It means the world to me. The people that have written the reviews, they've been awesome, and I appreciate it so much. If you guys want, you can always email me at fantasyhousepodcast@gmail.com. I feel like a hashtag blessed guest. It's a super fun time, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be silly and have fun.